Yeah. And one last thing just to mention before we go. When you play over a minor chord, usually, right? We do like maybe a blues pentatonic, which has the flat five. So if you can play over the minor chord, leaving the flat five out, or you could do it with the flat five. You could do it with leaving the five out, and then you have not leaving the flat five, but leaving the five out. And then you have the Locrian mode anyway. So the cool thing now, is over the A minor chord. It's a 2 chord. You could play F sharp, Locrian pentatonic, right? Yeah, you can play your A. You can play A minor pentatonic like always. You can play with the Locrian version. You can do it actually in Locrian. So you can have like sort of like symmetrical in its weird way. It's not permanently symmetrical, obviously, because you can't go and do it up here. You'd be in a totally different world, different key. But you can shift between those two a flat third away. Dude, this is going to open the door to some fun, cool ideas. Like, check that out. You feel like... Man, it's so cool that's all over one chord, Anyway, when the D7 rolls around, you can switch between your F sharp Locrian, right? Or maybe you could do it this one. Oh, we already talked about that. And then your D blues. So you have like D blues. And you could do the D Locrian pentatonic. So now you've got your D blues, D Locrian pentatonic. And then of course, if you look at it in the key, then you could do F sharp Locrian pentatonic. Like you can go between 3 different ideas there. That's a lot to keep in mind. Over a 7th chord, you can play minor pentatonic from the root, Locrian pentatonic from the root, Locrian from its actual source, Anyway, man, this is fascinating. This is something to jam over for a long time. Yeah, the weird intervals, like kind of special, interesting frame of reference. Like just get out of the box doing the same thing. I really need to sit around and see how quick I can. My technique sucks right now. That part especially, you got 3 notes, and then 1, and then 2. That's... And then the same thing in the next one where I gotta just shred it so that then I can hopefully not shred it, That's a cool idea. Kind of tricky. Just kind of doing some string skipping over the second mode. Anyway, that's my advice, man. Just jam it and enjoy it. All right, and then try it over Autumn Leaves chord progression, and that'll be a little more frustrating because you'll have to like go, okay, wait, what? You know, you have to look at a chord. Yeah, yeah, and find the emphasis on like have fun with the fact that you're focusing on chord tones, so that when you do play a chord tone that's within that Locrian pentatonic, and you can end there and be like, or start there and you go, oh, I hear the chords happening, you know, or maybe just stop and strum the actual chord that you're playing over for a second. Go, like, oh yeah, and I hear how that fits. It's important to keep that like perspective. You got to know what chord you're playing over. You know, being slow at it is like that's the path to becoming fast at it. You know, it's so that's good. It's there's nothing wrong with that. If you wrote in like on the shapes and the chord diagrams, like the way I wrote the scale, sort of in its like aerial view, um, if you did that with like R's and twos and threes and fours and fives, it would only work within one context. You know, like you'd have to rewrite it all over again for a seventh chord or for a Dorian, you know, chord or a Phrygian chord. I mean, if it were a three chord, then what you wrote as a root for an F sharp Locrian won't be the root anymore. All of that changes. But so if you do that, you'll find yourself writing it over and over again. You might find it better off. You might find yourself better off kind of memorizing where the shape begins in relation to the root of the other chord and seeing the shapes, you know, like seeing the D7 while you're playing the F sharp Locrian and being like, okay, I see my chord underneath the shape that I learned. And then if you see the chord, then the chord tones are obvious because that is the chord that you see. The chord you see in your mind is just all chord tones. So any of those notes will be the ones you'd want to end on or milk or start on. Cool, man? All right, dude, well, I'm going to let you go, but that was a very fun lesson. We're going over really cool stuff. I'm really glad you brought up this Paul Gilbert thing. And it started off as something interesting, and now it's gone way farther. Now it's like we're really figuring out how to like do some really fancy stuff. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, cool, man. Well, this is just the beginning. Yeah, we could probably take it further. Um, like what he did, what he kind of contorted a minor pentatonic into a Locrian one. We could do the same thing for major or other stuff, but we'll talk about that another time. I remember that. We can talk about that one if you're ready for it. We can talk about it next week. If you feel like you're ready for it, we can talk about it next week. But myself, I'm thinking like I wouldn't want to get that altered one down probably until I felt like I could play over multiple songs in various positions each, trying to stay in one position by utilizing all of the modes.